All right, the Ways and Means Committee meeting for June 11th will come to order, and we have somebody who's supposed to be here tomorrow night is here tonight because he has other arrangements tomorrow night. And Frank, just to let you know and the other department heads know, we're just looking for a brief summary of what's there, and if there's any changes, we'd rather emphasize on what the change is for, and go through the budget and the council if any questions for you. But it's basically self-explanatory, so you got the floor.
Okay, thank you. So there are two changes in the Planning and Community Development budget. We added a project manager construction supervisor to our budget. That's $61,200, and we added the project engineer to our budget. Page 124. So last year's budget, $36,000 for the project engineer came out of CDBG money. We don't have any money in our CDBG program this year to support that position. So the mayor has agreed to supplement that and include the project engineer in the city budget at $59,364. Everything else remains the same as last year. There is some deductions because we had our former project engineer retire, so we have less money in longevity there and less money in educational incentive. So only changes were the picking up project engineer and project manager, construction supervisor. We have over $3 million worth of projects under construction this year, and it was necessary to have a project manager, construction supervisor on board to follow those projects. And he's been doing a great job up to now. And it seems to be working out really well. And that's it.
Thank you. Any councilors? I don't think there's any. I just have one, just to get it clear, that the project manager construction, the council actually asked for that. And is he also looking at trenches when trenches are done and making sure they're done right? Is that one of the things he's in there for, I hope?
Yes, he can serve that function and work with DPW to do that, undertake that function. Now, I have to coordinate that with the Superintendent of Public Works, Donnie Goodwin.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay.
Chief Caffarelli. What page are you on?
I started at page 172.
You got the floor, Chief. It's like I said, the first 4 or 5 pages are self-explanatory. I mean, if you want to go over them, if there's any big changes that I don't see any there. I mean, it's, you know, how you have all your mission goals and stuff like that there. Let's go through them then. Okay.
How's that? That better? Okay, very good.
Any questions to the chief on what he went over so far? Councilor Maravito.
Sir.
If you can explain the other salaries, what goes into the other salaries?
What page you on?
Just to the counselor, are you asking why all those items? No, it's true. I'm just looking, are you looking at all the items where they're increased?
No, I'm just wondering what goes into the other salaries. There's actually a line item that says other salaries.
You called me out on one. I got to see what's missing somewhere else because I'm sure it's accounted for somewhere. Other salaries, would appear that would be non-sworn officers, I believe.
Could it probably just call takers or?
Exactly. Records, MIS. Yeah, it's non-sworn personnel.
That's what I thought, okay. And just about all the other increases of contractual agreements.
Exactly.
And everything else. There's not really any patrolmen or anybody got like a higher raise than the contract
It's all contractual,
itself.
correct, Counsel.
Any other councilors? The only thing, Chief, I know that question I have is, I believe you just put 2 police officers on. Are they on, or putting them on? I'm looking at 2 civil service police officers.
I have 2 in the academy at present.
Okay, they're at the academy.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why it's the new ones are funded.
And I'll have 2. I have 2 more hires with respect to anticipated openings later in the year or beginning of next year.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions? I don't have Council Powers.
Thank you. I just, the 2 in the academy, excluding them, what does that bring our present complements up to?
90. There'll be 90 officers.
When they come on,
I'll be at 92.
you'll be at
But they're
92?
correct. I'll be at 92 officers.
Then you anticipate some people leaving?
I anticipate 3 retirements within the next fiscal year.
Yeah. So that
That
would
I'm
be,
aware of at this point. I do have, at present, I have 3 long-term injuries
yeah.
that could possibly add to the retirement.
So we'd still be at 92, right?
I'll be below 92. That'll be a moving target. That's what I'm up against
Okay.
with respect to the injured officers. If it turns out to be result in a retirement, there'll be more openings.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chief. You're all set.
Very good. Thank you. Councilors?
Chief Doherty. I guarantee you're longer than he is.
Councilor Powers is it. I started, our budget starts at page 140. And the figures start at 145. Our budget went up, understandably, due to the recently negotiated contract. We have been cut in our complement from 102 down to 98 through attrition. We only have 3 openings right now. There'll be a 4th soon. I did not agree with this, but the budget came to me at 98 instead of 102. I've spoken with the mayor. We agree to disagree. And I'm going to haunt them to try to get them back, hopefully, once the fiscal year, this new budget gets straightened out. I believe that it is, they're anticipating the combination of the rec center coming on. We were going to get 4 firefighters back to fire duty full-time. And that may have been a cost savings way initially to help out in the budget.
Okay, any councilors? Councilor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, that's one of my main concerns with this budget. the omission of 4 firefighters from it. It was always my anticipated thought that once the 911 situation changed in, what was it, sometime in August, that we'd be able to use those 4 men at least on a part-time basis to get that engine 2 open down there.
Well, the mayor and I had discussions with those 4 coming on, replacing by the time we have 4 openings. And if I explained to the mayor that if we got a couple more above that, and with additional overtime, we could open the station full-time.
Yeah,
And, you know, obviously, when the numbers did come down, that was thrown out.
well, I hope the mayor will reconsider that down the road and, you know, support your thoughts.
I mean, he supports it, you know, he's for it, but
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
money is,
I mean, we just had an incident tonight on Squire Road. We had another incident down on Ocean Avenue.
yeah.
And not only does that tie up personnel, it also ties up traffic in the city. And it cuts the response time somewhat for emergency apparatus getting into certain areas. So again, I'm on the same page as you are, and I would like to see that
I
station.
know the mayor wants to do it, you know, like I said, we've had discussions, but I think wherever, you know, obviously the treasurer and the auditor have input and said the money isn't there.
Well, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr.
No problem, Council Powers, thank you. Chief, I just have one question on 145.
Okay?
When you get 2014 year-to-date, that can't be the last, is this set a couple months ago? It has to be.
Yeah, well,
In other words, when was the budget put together to that figure? It can't be, we only got 3 more weeks left to...
yeah, this is a little older. We have those RevStat meetings, so this must have came from one of those. We have the monthly meeting and we get these
Okay, I mean,
updates, so there's a couple of months.
There's a lot of money that's not spent, so it's got to be that.
No, I don't have that. If I had that, I'd be spending it.
It looks that way
Yeah, it
by
does.
looking
Yeah,
at it year-to-date,
yeah,
so...
That's misleading, isn't it?
Yeah, I probably knew the answer, but for the edification of, you know, some people may see that. I mean, it's, I guarantee it's probably 2 months ago, year-to-date. Councilor Ciambudo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Chief, I wasn't paying attention when Councilor Powers was talking. I'm sure he probably already asked you this, but when are we going to open the Pines Fire Station?
There's no definitive date.
Oh.
Obviously, as I said, I've had discussions with the mayor. I was hoping that we weren't cut, that we were actually getting the people from the combined dispatch would go on fire duty, and with a couple more bodies and additional overtime, we could open the Pines.
Well-
That's still a possibility. You know, spoke strenuously with the mayor the other day, and he understood. We agreed to disagree, and he's hoping that when we look at it in August, maybe September, some movement can come about, and we get those people back and do something.
Good thing,
And
sir.
that's regardless of the casino thing. That's what
No.
I've told the mayor, that I said, we can do
Understand.
this without the casino.
Yeah,
No, and-
obviously with the casino, we can do it immediately.
Yeah, but I don't want that to be the
I
case.
know, I
I have
understand.
other plans.
I understand you want us to lobby for it without the casino.
Correct,
And-
correct. You know, in the
but-
casino, there's a whole other plan just for that.
Right, and I mean, obviously, we all know that it's needed,
Right.
and it's critical public safety issue, and I know that a lot of us up here feel that way. So maybe we can all put a bug in the mayor's ear that we feel the same way, we're all on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ciambudo. I'm surprised you were not thinking that Councilor Powers would ask that question. Of course he did. Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gene, for my own information, I'm getting some complaints at the fire station up in North Revere. Half of the building, now we own half of that fire station, right?
Well, we don't own anything. We have a $1 lease for 99 years.
Oh, we leased that.
Correct. It's
I
on their
thought
property.
they
everything.
built that for,
They built it
yeah.
and let us go in it.
All right. I think we've had discussions
Yeah.
on the phone about
We have certain responsibilities.
That's
for the-
what I want to get. What about taking maintenance of the building and the area around the building?
We're required to do everything inside. There's a debate going on as to what's required outside. At one point, they had a contractor in that was doing the landscaping, and they didn't. They had, on a regular basis, had did the landscaping and by the station, and then all of a sudden they stopped doing it. And I just informed them that this is your front door. I'm not cutting it, and you can deal with it. It was rectified. I talked to Joe Shea. I think it was made at a different level, and I spoke to Joe Shea. And,
But everything's okay now?
yeah.
I mean, it's...
We're going through a little BS with the plowing and things like that, which initially they were responsible. But there's something in the covenant that says that at a certain point they give that up to them. That's not a biggie. We can, between Malden and us, we can do that.
Yeah, the parking lot and the...
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't serve any purpose for them to, if we don't do it to their specifications, and their liability could come about, because they have a ton of people walk through the property that we're on to get to that bus stop on a regular basis. So I've informed Mr. Shea of that too. So
Okay.
it would behoove him to make sure that happens. He's good. I mean,
Yeah.
to us, as long as I notify him of it,
No, I know there was a problem up there, and I just wanted
Yes.
to make sure it was being worked on.
Yeah,
that's
there
all.
was question with lights, things like that,
Yeah.
And we said, we're not going to replace street lights. That's your property. We do all the exterior lighting for the station. We'll do that. So we got straightened away.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Marabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief, I know both of my fellow colleagues, Councilor Zambudo and Councilor Powers, mentioned the Pines Station. I was wondering, can you give me an estimate of the operating cost for Pines Station?
About $1 million.
About $1 million, and that's yearly.
That's
That just to keep it running.
You would have to. Technically it should be 16 firefighters. We could do it with 12, and then a little overtime. So 12 firefighters that they estimate about $75,000 a year with benefits and things like that.
Excellent. Okay,
So-
thank you.
And that's not counting equipment. We do have some money put aside already to do some rehab for it. We're waiting. I have a developer that's willing to replace all the windows for us.
So that's not including the equipment
No, that's
Oh.
just salaries, yeah.
and maintenance bills and electricity?
Yeah, well, we're paying that now because we run it. We use it as a training facility. We use it as a public meeting area for different groups. They use it. So we maintain the utilities are higher than I want them to be sometimes, but they're not too bad.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. One thing I just want to let you know that we are getting quite a bit of grant money through UASI, the Urban Area Security Initiative. So I did do a rundown of what we had gotten this year that the city probably would have never been able to purchase on their own. But we're up about $800,000 this fiscal year alone, just in equipment that we've gotten out of UASI. We're replacing that whole reservoir radio tower and doing all that. We've gotten a lot of equipment. We're buying Chief Caffarelli's Bearcat armored car for the tune of $270,000. So we're getting a lot of things like that. So UASI is a very good thing that we do have, and the city gets things that we normally would not have ever done. In addition to that $700,000, we got $550,000 towards the rec center for equipment as well. So.
Actually, Chief, I do have one question. Since you brought that up, and I see it's funded in here zero. The new call taker, I know it's
Correct.
not coming on until
Yeah.
the fall, but is that how is that funded? Is it through the state? Is it through the city, municipalities?
It is from day one, everybody was informed this was going to cost the city money, no matter how they did it, to do it this way. Going into this, you're afforded quite a bit of grant money. We haven't got the final figure for this fiscal year of what we'll get out of the state for grant money. But right now, a projected budget is up around $1 million to run that. Now, we're hoping to get about a little under $400,000 in grant money from 911, and then line items that the police have for their call takers plus ours goes into that budget. So the city might be looking to, on their end, for about $200,000 or $300,000. And then Winthrop
I was going to
pays,
mention
you know,
Winthrop also.
Winthrop has to pay according to their numbers that they have based on population and incidents. So they're going to be going for a couple of $100,000 anyways.
We pay somewhat anyway, up to the 200, so it's not as much.
Yeah, we're trying to get that third community will really put us ahead. And
Right.
we're hoping at some point we get somebody else.
Very good, thank you. Councilor Simula, one more question?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to throw a compliment to the chief. I know how hard he works on these grants from URASI, and I think it's occasionally we should throw you a bouquet for all your hard work. We really do appreciate it up
Throw me
here.
4 guys. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you. No.
That's the mayor's job, but we can certainly
you're
lobby
doing
him.
that,
But we do appreciate your hard
Thank
work.
you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councilor Marabito has another question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief, I'm on page 145, line item overtime.
Where was it? I'm sorry.
On page 145?
Overtime?
Yes.
Yep.
What I noticed, and let's go back to fiscal year 2013.
Correct.
The actual was $421,000.
What we spent, correct.
Correct. Now, in fiscal year 2014, you were budgeted a lot lower, almost
Correct.
200,000 less. And year to date, you're at 375,000, which is you're 125,000 over what was budgeted.
In a deficit, correct.
Yes, so you have a deficit right now.
Correct.
And the mayor's budgeted for next fiscal year is 300,000.
Correct.
Do you think we're going to stay at that line item? Because it seems to be a trend that we're going over whatever is budgeted.
Negative.
Negative.
It's kind of like the unwritten. I ask for this much, the city always goes at this level. And then what it happens, by the end of the fiscal year, we have money in other accounts, whether somebody's retired or we have a surplus because we didn't use all our holiday time off and things like that. And we're able to, we don't have to go for a supplemental increase. We're able to take it from within our budget to do that. So the city kind of relies on that. They underfund overtime on a regular basis.
Now, is that leaving you short within your department doing that?
It hasn't. We've been able to, do different things and get reimbursements for some overtime. Like a lot of this overtime, I get reimbursed through the state for either hazmat or through UASI for training and things like that as well. So at the end of the year, as long as we're fiscally prudent in our regular operating expenses, we generally have enough to cover that within our own budget. But it's always underfunded. I mean, this year I requested 350, and they went for 300.
Which makes sense because you actually year to
We
date.
spend just about 350 every year.
Yeah. You did 375 this
And
year.
that's,
yeah,
I mean,
so, yeah.
and we have, our sick rate is less than, it's about 4.5 sick days per person, taking off some chronic sick people, long-term, things like that. So we do quite well with our sick leave. They're very good, the firefighters. We do some brownouts when there's too many people out at once. We'll put a piece out of service. We try to control as best we can.
So you expect the deficit every year and just transfer over funds.
Give me 500, I won't have a deficit.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically a moving target. You don't know who's going to get injured, if there are anything.
Correct.
I hope there aren't.
Yeah, we
And
had a
then
couple this year. We have had a couple of long-term sick, got hurt off the job. We've had 2 that got hurt on the job, and that hurts. But that's the nature of the beast.
Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Catanazzo, it seems like you're representing like 4 different departments here. We'll start with your inspection services.
Right. Basically, speaking for the whole department, the only changes we've had in the department is one and a half. The mic on? Oh, I'm sorry. 166, we hired one of our part-time clerks for full-time. We're going to be working on the new program with the new hearings officer, Bob Myra, when we implement the 40U program. Okay, so she's got, I think it adds up to be. Oh, it's on now. The green light's on. Here it is. I got it now. Okay? Okay. Green light's on. Sorry about that. Let me start over.
Thank you, Rick, for that.
Thank you. Okay, page 166. The principal clerk is going to be working bringing her to full-time at 39 hours. It's going to be working on the 40U program, doing the hearings two nights a week, twice a month, and implementing all the hearings for the hearings officer, over and above some of the other duties she has within the health department. The other change is on page 167. The 3 grant people who are paid totally out of grants, nothing out of the city. They've been transferred from community development to the inspectional services on the health side, all 3 of them. So we can see there's a zero balance at the end because they're being paid by grants. Those are the only changes we have within the whole structure. Right now we're up to about, with all the school nurses, which are funded by the school department, we up to about 30 people in our department now. So we probably got the 3rd largest department other than fire and police in the city, and the school department, of course.
We'll go one department at a time. Any questions to Nikki on inspection services? Councilor Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just have a general question about fines. How many have we given out? How many has inspectional service given out, and how many have we actually received payment on?
Well, basically, we don't go by numbers. So we go by value. We're working into a new system, so a lot of the when we changed over the system, it was where we were doing liens on properties at the time. Mm-hmm. All those particular liens and monies will be going into basically next year's budget. So we, as everybody knows, we're working on these. We got like 3 systems going at once, and we've been working on it. So most years average out to basically we bring in basically about 100,000, over 100,000 in tickets, and probably about another 100,000 on liens on those tickets. So hypothetically, it's about 200,000. But like I said, this year is like a weird year because a lot of those tickets are being filtered through to next year's lien. So it will be a bigger pie next year. So we couldn't lien them out this year because of the new changeover in the system, but they will be, implemented next year. But our guys are, like I said, on an average week, our guys are running, like last week I can give you an example, we wrote about $8,000 in tickets. What I do is I block out areas of the city, and I give the inspectors a whole group of streets. We go down there for all, I put it in the newspaper, I don't know if you saw it. We go down and we check for outside sanitation, barrels, high grass, unregistered cars. And last week, I think we wrote like 86 tickets just on that in one section of the city. So right now, we got a couple of more sections of the city. One is the Beachmont area, one is the Shirley Ave area to finish up. Right now, we're finishing up the Squire Road area. So once we do the whole city, then we go back and we start again, make sure those violations are still not there, and we up the fines on them. So that's how we've been working.
And now, what about on the amount we spend on court costs? Is that through the solicitor's office, or do you have to absorb that money?
Well, this new system that we're putting in, is 40U, and we're going to be hiring a hearings officer, so we'll have our own hearings officer. Right now, the courts are so backed up that the hearings are way behind. So we're going to have a hearings officer twice a month down at the Revere Police Station. That's why we put this girl on. She's going to be the administrator of setting up the hearings for the new hearings, which is going to be Bob Myra. So this is a good thing for the city. This will be great for the city. We'll get rid of all these hearings that we've been backing up, and we'll really actually know it. Once we get the system in place, hopefully within probably a couple, 2-3 months, when we switch over to the new system, I think it's going to really work out well. We're going to have handhelds taking pictures. It's going to be really state-of-the-art. Right now, there's like any new system, there's a few glitches in the system, and we're trying to work them out. So we've been working with the mayor's assistant in the office, Jerry D'Ambrosio's office, who are writing the ordinance for the new, which will be presented in front of the council eventually, which, I've read through it, and it's, we got a couple of changes we got to make in that also.
So this will be a new system, not an upgrade to the current system?
Totally new system, yes.
And what is the name of this new system?
40U.
40.
It gives municipalities more power under the law to lien out properties and go after offenders. And we can, right now, our maximum on a fine with a late notice is $300. We're upping it to $500. So we're really going after, trying to make the city a better place and cleaner.
And this system will also show where you're collecting, like which area you're collecting fees from, correct?
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of generating the reports. We haven't went through that yet. What type of reports are going to be coming out for us? So we're at that stage right now, Steve. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
Might as well go on to building.
Building, there's been no changes. I can give you an update on some of the major projects we got going. We got Harley-Davidson, $3.7 million. 525 Beach Street was a residential 30-unit at $5.3 million. Of course, we got the Oceanfront Waterfront Square, 194 units at $23.2 million. We have two proposed projects in front of us right now, which is Ward Street, BJ's Lot, residential, which is 231 units. And we also they just came in 2 weeks ago with the other part of the beach project, 689 Ocean Ave, Waterfront Square, which is another 200 units. So needless to say, when we get the casino, you know what I say, when we get this casino, because I really believe we're going to get it, where our department is going to be swamped, because there's so many developers, as we all know at the table here, that hotels and businesses that are going to come in off the back of this casino. We already have had, as you know, 2 or 3 inquiring about, different properties within the city to build hotels, restaurants. I mean, this is a big, huge thing for the city. So we're going to be a real busy department.
Can't agree with you more, but that's for another day. They're all hiding in the weeds out there.
Yeah, sure.
Uncut property is unbuildable. But any questions on the building department? See, Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Director, could you give us a little update and a little education on how we're going after illegal apartments? And
sure.
Just give us a little procedure. And
I definitely will, yes. We had a system in place that just wasn't working. So I changed the system myself. I wrote out a spreadsheet. I have a meeting with our department every Friday morning. We meet on illegal apartments, on reports of illegal units, illegal room and houses. I have the whole department here, plumbing inspector, electrical inspector, all the building inspectors, health inspectors, a whole department, so everybody knows what's going on. We track these. So in other words, okay, say hypothetically an illegal apartment comes in, a report, we fill out a slip. Legal apartment, it can come from the fire department, it could come from a private citizen calling it in. We fill out a report, it could be the secretary, she fills them out. At that point, we give it to another person who does all our searches. So they say, okay, there's an illegal unit It's a 3-family. They're running 3 families out of there. We look it up, and it's only a 2. So, okay, so we put legal apartment, possible legal apartment. After that, I give it to the Chief Building Inspector, Ben DeCristofora, reviews it. He agrees. He checks it off and signs it. Then I assign it to an inspector. The inspector, in turn, will send a letter to that particular property saying, there's a generic letter saying, we have reason to believe you have an illegal unit or a legal room and house. They don't respond in the first week. At the next meeting, they send out a fine, a $250 fine to that property. We do that 3 times, 3 fines. After the 3rd fine, no response, which we've got a tremendous response. We've already knocked off about 50% of these, which is incredible. By guys get into the property and say, hey, there is no illegal apartment, or hey, there is an illegal apartment. You have to come in, pull all the permits, and remove it. Or you can convert it if the zoning is correct. After that point, and if nobody responds to the 3 fines, we turn it over to the solicitor, Paul Capizzi. Now, we just reached that period on 3 of them. Paul we give him all the fines and everything. He sends out a letter from the solicitor's office stating that they have an illegal unit. They have to let us in, or we're going to be taking them to court. If they don't do that at that point, we're turning them over. I talked to the mayor and David Krasnoff, the mayor's assistant, who's been working with us on these illegal units. We turn it over to a private attorney's office out of Jerry's office, Jerry's Ambrosios, and they take it from there. Then it's out of the building department's hands. We go after them in court. So we have a real good system in place. If you ever want to sit in on a meeting on some Friday morning, we have them at 11 o'clock. We go through every property on the list and update them. Close them out, update them, and the great thing about it, and the guys, first were a little, but now everybody knows what's happening. They hear an address and it rings a bell in their ear. Yeah, that's it. We had that in a meeting. They all get a copy in their computer weekly when the girl updates everything. The secretary's in the meeting. We update everything, and I think John might have saw one of the meetings when Councilor Powers, and so it's working really well. It's probably, we finally got a good system in place, so it's excellent. If any of you like to sit in, you're welcome, and you can see how we operate it. It's really well done.
Well, I really asked that question because I wanted you to give an education to our citizens out there.
Sure.
We know how hard you've been working on this and that you put this together, and we're very grateful for that.
Right.
But I also want people to know that may have an illegal apartment, if you have the zoning, you convert it. If you don't, you're going to have to take it out. And we're very aggressive with this now, and especially illegal rooming houses.
Oh, yeah.
There's no tolerance for that.
None.
So I thank you for doing a great job with that.
The thing is, we don't go up and knock on people's doors and say, we'd like to come in. We get these reports from the fire inspector when they're doing smokes. We get them from the police department. We get them from private citizens, and, that's where we get all these complaints. And we mark everything down.
Yeah,
but I'd like you to come in someday, you're more than welcome. And sit in and you can really see how we operate it. It's really well done.
Well, people have to understand that a lot of this is about public safety, too. If you have an illegal apartment, you don't have a second means of egress, God forbid somebody dies in a fire. It's happened in the past.
Good example, City of Boston, a month ago, girl burns to death in one of the slumlord in Boston. It's been all over the globe. She burnt to death because overcrowding. She was up in an attic with no forms of egress, couldn't get out and died. So we got it all over. We got that article.
That's
so
great.
People can see it.
Well, thank you for your hard work on this,
Sure,
Mr.
thank
Director.
you. I appreciate it.
Nikki, I said it before, I'll say it again. You got hired under the Ambrosino administration, and it was probably the best hire you had. And
I appreciate that.
I still stand with that. I mean, I don't envy you and your department of all the stuff that's going on in the city that's new, and people that don't even know the system, and you have to educate them and everything else. And I don't envy you, and you're doing a great job. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
And I know the weights and measures thing. I mean, it's one person.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it. Yeah, right.
Councilor Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was an excellent question that my fellow colleague, Councilor Sambudo, asked about illegal apartments. Can you touch upon maximum capacity for room, for housing? How do you handle that? What's the process?
Basically, there's an overlapping thing. It comes under the, basically it comes under the health code. Comes under the health code, it's per square feet per person. I can get you the exact, I can send that to you, yes. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can give you that, yes.
Now, is a landlord fined in a situation if there is more than the maximum capacity?
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know, which we try to advertise also, is just to give you an update, that anytime apartments rented in the city of Revere, you need a certificate of inspection from the health department, which is done by the housing inspector. It's $50. And, people out there that think, they're trying to avoid us, it's the best $50 you ever spent. And why do I say that? Is because when you rent out an apartment and you have a person that wrecks your apartment, when you go to court, you can bring that document saying, my apartment was inspected by the Board of Health. And everything's on that particular inspection sheet, okay, that they went through the apartment. And then you can use that as a court document. So it's, the people that think that, they're, not paying the $50. And by the way, I believe it's, if we catch them and we really want to go after somebody, it's $20 a day for a day of rental on the fine. It's in the ordinance.
So if you have 10 people living in an apartment, do you actually have to get a warrant to check? Or if there's strong evidence that...
Well, no, the problem is we can't ever enter an apartment unless somebody wants us to. If the renter wants us in, we can go in. However, why we do that fining system, like I just explained, on illegal apartments and rooming houses, because that brings people, they say, look, they're fining me. I'm going to let them in. If we don't send that fine out, they'll just ignore us. You follow me? So 99% of the time, they call us after we start fining, let us in, we check it out. The hardest thing to determine is a rooming house. Very difficult.
So that only applies to apartments. So if someone bought a house and had 20 people living in their house,
right,
that would be perfectly legal.
Well, it depends.
Based on the maximum
like I said, it depends on the square footage of the house and living space, what they had.
So let's say they were beyond maximum capacity.
Right.
What's the process from there?
Well, the process is we would cite, you got to remember, almost everything when we go to court, whether it's a building code issue or anything, in order to have any clout in the court system, it's got to come under the health code. The health code is the key code of anything, as we got schooled by the attorneys, okay? It's the key code. And what we would do is we would cite the health code of overcrowding in an apartment. We send in the housing inspector, and they'd have to remove those people. Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you for answering all my questions.
Sure.
And your department's doing an excellent job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Nikki, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Nick, you're up next. I think it starts on page 74. Nick, just give us a summary of your budget. There's not much there. And then the council will have some questions.
Hello? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. It starts on 71, Counselor. So basically, what you see here, aside from the salaries, are a couple of items. One is telephone/communications, which basically is for cell phone. The other parts of it are materials, which would be basically for office supplies. The other expenses, if you look through the breakdown, ends up being for a couple other different items, some which are dues and registrations related to my dues as an engineer and any registrations for any types of organizations that I'm, professional organizations that I'm a member of. And then the last part is a travel allowance, which is related to the fact that I'm traveling throughout the city on a regular basis, using my own vehicle, buying gas and things like that. So really, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I didn't see much there. It doesn't look like there's any questions. Councilor Sambudo.
You got any extra money?
Mr. President, I apologize for not calling you Mr. President.
That's okay, Mr. Chairman. Do you have any extra money in your budget?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't think so. Keep up the good work, Nick.
Will do.
Nick, thank you for showing up, and thank you. Keep up the good work, like Council President said. Thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
That's going to end tonight's hearing of Ways and Means, and tomorrow night at 5 o'clock we'll resume with some other departments. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn.